Alright, guys. Welcome back to the Ethereal Podcast. I'm Dom
and Saige.
And today we're going to talk about microdosing, psilocybin.
What fun times.
Very, very useful. Very therapeutic, in my opinion. And, of course, a lot of science to back that up.
Yeah, I was watching a few videos on way to refresh my brain.
Right.
Of other people's stuff. Which I don't know, well, I guess
it's been a while since you've done your microdosing regimen.
I did. I don't know when that was exactly, but I did a microdosing regimen for a month where it was I think I did the pretty much every other day. I'll kind of play by ear or whatever, but pretty much every other day for a month. And it was just the dose kind of varied, but it was all pretty decently low. And it was really interesting. So I did it mostly because I was living with a lot of anxiety. And so I was okay, a lot of people are telling me that if I do this, it's going to break a lot of the anxiety problems I have. It's going to be a longer term effect. So that's why I first started it, because I had experience with shrooms, psilocybin, prior to the whole regimen, but I only had experience with
hero doses.
Not hero doses. I never went. Well, okay. What is hero dose? What's considered hero doses?
I mean, I would say, I guess this is definitely debatable, but a hero dose to me would be anything over 3 grams, depending on the strength of the mushrooms.
Okay, fair. The only time there is a couple times at the very beginning, but I really don't count those for shrooms because I didn't get anything from it. Because it was when I was in my acid junkie phase, so I did 3.5 and didn't feel anything, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was the time.
Were you on any meds?
I think so, but I'm on the same medication now, and it doesn't, and I feel it with way less. It's really fascinating. I don't know if it was just because I was doing acid so often, and it was such high doses I was doing that it was it was just not enough, or what was really going on. I didn't really get into shrooms until after I got out of acid. And then, so I had experience where the most of the time I would do if I wanted a trip, it used to be 2.5. Now, if I'm going somewhere, especially if I'm doing something, usually it's a gram. If I want to trip, 1.5 grams. I'm not really big on big doses of shit anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the last time I took a large dose of mushrooms, it was 3 grams. And our friend was like, yeah, let's chop it up and put it in a shot glass with lemon juice because that's going to turn the psilocybin into psilocin. And it's going to hit in 20 minutes. Girl.
Oh my God.
We all were all right, let's go do some yoga to come up. We melted into the carpet. I don't think a single one of us did a yoga pose because I just couldn't move my body, and then Brittany was violently throwing up.
Yeah, that's
throughout the trip.
Just lemon juice straight on her stomach. I can't imagine.
And her stomach hurt the entire time. But honestly, that was probably the hardest I've ever tripped. Visually.
Really?
It was crazy. I walked out of my bedroom and it just looked like those 3D houses in the cartoons that are shifting and growing. It was wild.
Crazy.
I was oh my God. But I loved it. It was a good. It ended up being a very spiritual trip because I got a very good message out of it.
That's good.
Yeah, but I'd much rather microdosing.
I'd much rather microdosing, and if I'm not microdosing, I'd much rather just shrooms. I had a period of time where I would do the lemon shot thing. Realistically, it was just because I was chasing to get the most fucked up off of what I had. That was why I was doing it. Realistically, I said what other reason, but realistically, it was just because I wanted it to hit harder for less money. So I was doing the lemon shot, and
the flu the next day after we did that. I was like, dude, I feel like I'm dying.
I do not like the lemon shot method because just the way it hits is so
Yeah, I don't recommend either. But I started my microdosing yesterday, as you know.
Alright.
And it was wonderful. It was such a good day. I told you a little bit about it, but like the day started off and I had my breakfast. And so I had a friend tell me, my herbalist friend, Miss Wendy, she's wonderful. Love her. If you're watching this, I love you. I told her about it yesterday. She said she was going to check it out. Anyways, she was letting me know that they actually absorb better in a fat when you eat them. So she likes to make them in chocolates and eat them that way. And so I tried that, and I melted down just a couple of chocolate chips, and I sprinkled just a 0.1 in there, and spread that on top of one of my little breakfast cookies, and it was delicious. And I went outside, and I laid out the yoga mat and the meditation little seat thing, cushion, and my crystals that I use for Reiki sessions. And I went ahead and I started doing like a whole Reiki session on myself and clearing my energy, and then just kind of going through my chakras and feeling what was blocked, pulling out. Basically everything I would do for someone else, I was doing on myself. And it was intense. I can imagine. I felt a few, blockages, and I purged everything. But first I journaled, and basically the journal was like, it was essentially a message from my higher self. It was like, you're aware of all of this physical pain in your body, which is trapped energy, stored trauma. Why are you still holding on to it? They were like, question mark. Why? Yeah, just know. And it was like, it's time to purge. It's like, let it go. It's time to let it all go. And so after that, like when I did the session and I laid out with the crystals, like I was sobbing so hard when I was laying down that I had to like sit up and just was like screaming as I was exhaling, tears streaming down. And like I ended up even like open palm, like slapping the ground just to kind of like get energy out, break it up. Yeah, it's crazy when you were like telling me how you're like, I kind of felt like anxious for it, and I was like, yeah, it's something you got in person. That's all it is. I have never obviously I've done shrooms outside of that microdosing month, but that microdosing month taught me a fucking lot about how shrooms work. I'm going to do this for a month. Fascinating because it really does teach you what shrooms do to your particular body, mind, everything, and you really see. It made me aware of all these little behaviors that I didn't even realize I was doing because I was like more like present with it. So that was like really cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was like, I realized so much more patient throughout the day. Like, wow. I was like, why am I feeling shooting out all of this negativity for no reason? Yeah. Mainly with like driving. Because I just have like road rage. Just a bit. Yeah. We're working on it. It's like it was truly a learned behavior. Yeah. Because it's not anything like I'm not being triggered. Like there's times where like if I'm afraid I'm gonna be late. But at that point I'm just like, whatever. Time doesn't exist. But time is in my playground. But yeah, I don't know. The road rage thing was definitely learned from my father and my grandpa. And because those honestly, like my mom did drive me around a lot, but as a kid, once my mom and dad got divorced, my grandpa helped out a lot. They picked us up from school most of the time. So at a young age, he was driving me around and like he would roll down his window and be like, "Oh, you jackass!" and yell at people. And I mean, it's just cursing people out left and right. It was funny. And like also my dad would do the same thing in just different ways. So I think at a young age, that's something I learned that yesterday it became very apparent. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like at this point, I'm so aware of it that it's a pattern that I actually need to work on breaking at this point because it's not good. It's not healthy for me. It's just because all it's doing is putting more negative out, but it's also putting me in a negative mood, in a negative state.
So. Yeah, it's really interesting, like what things shrooms will make you aware of, like just so many things. I mean, I remember even like stupid stuff where there's actually a fun fact. So the way I make scrambled eggs, if you ask Sam, he like raves about my eggs. Like he's like, I don't understand how you make eggs. I'm like, I don't know. I just started doing it. But it was because that microdosing month, I was making scrambled eggs, and I did. Why do you make scrambled eggs like this? And I was like, oh, that's how my mom like taught me how to make scrambled eggs. And you're like, you can make scrambled eggs tons of different ways, right? Like this isn't the only way to do it. And I was like, so I just started playing around with different ways to make eggs until I found the one I like. And I was like, huh, it's so crazy. Mm-hmm. So it's so weird to think about even the simple things of like, why do I do this? You were just taught that was how you do it, but there's so many ways you can do everything.
Yes, literally yesterday I was playing with Caspius and I was like throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. And literally the phrase that I would say to him is always what my mom would say. Like, bring me that ball. Give me that ball. And like I say the exact same thing. And I'm like, why do I like that's just what I'm like, but there's so many other things.
You could be like wiggle wall. You just start saying that.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Well, because I can.
I don't know, man. It was so funny. So you see all of these little like
quirks.
It's just like, okay, so is that me or that's just something I picked up? It's like, what do I really want to?
That's the fun.
It's like rebuilding yourself.
It's cool. Like
build a bear, build a bitch.
I was gonna say my usual like Sims, but that works too. I was gonna say it's like in Sims when you use that like cheat code to like go and like edit your sim while it's like a fully grown adult, and it's just like they were one way forever, and then you're like, hey, actually everything how they act, it's just based off of how I raised them in this Sims game. If I change all these things, they can be a completely different person. The trippy remix theory.
Literally.
I love the remix theory. I don't know if it's actually called that. There's probably a different theory called it.
I mean, that's yours.
Someone's probably going to be like, the remix theory, and it's going to be something totally different than what I'm referring to, but that's what I call it.
And then someone else that's referring to your theory has a different name for it.
That's the weird part. Language. So stupid. It really is. It's so insane.
It's also fascinating, though. I love listening to people speak other languages. I'll just sit there and just be like,
but I just can't believe that we made meanings to these sounds, and then we say if it's not defined in a particular thing, it's not our language. It's stupid. That's insane. Like the fact that we decided that this is a word, but what is it? It's insane. It's just as much of a word.
Oh my god!
It's like, why can't that be a word?
Oh my god!
Everything's just a fucking sound. It's just a sound that we gave a meaning to. So it's so stupid. Language. It is fun to watch other people speak. It's fun watching someone who speaks a language you don't know, because since you don't know it, you can't focus on like translating it. Instead, you're just watching them. You're observing the language and not trying to understand it.
Right.
So it's almost like that like pure like awareness moment where you're like, you can't be in your mind's realm because your mind's like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying.
Literally, you're just like,
so you're just like, so cool.
You just watch and observe. That tickle in your throat. It's always fun. So what else about microdosing? So we can talk more about benefits, that we've experienced and that we know of, have heard of.
The benefits that I saw when I was doing the regimen was
you started it for anxiety, so
yeah, I started for anxiety. The anxiety was a drastic difference in just learning how to feel it and handle it, because every time I would come up, I had things that had to be purged. So every come up started being like anxiety, like written for a while. And I was like, what the fuck? Until I realized what that anxiety was. And so it taught me to be like, when I feel anxiety, go, don't call it that. What is it? What caused this? Don't just go, oh, I feel anxious. Go, something is causing anxiety. What is causing it? So I can try to like break it down.
Right.
So it kind of would get me out of these like loops of being like, I don't know, I'm just so anxious. I don't know why. Because I would be looped in those for hours. So that was a drastic thing that made it different. I would take it in the morning with my breakfast and tea outside. Nice. So I found that it helped me kind of wake up.
Definitely
get a lot more energy than usual, and have more energy to do things, more creative.
I can't wait to go do jiu-jitsu after taking it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's gonna think clearly.
Okay. I found that I was able to, other than like the emotions like being more like leveled and understanding how to like, not even that the
That
emotions,
part.
like the emotions were more leveled, but also when they weren't level, I was able to
You were
take
aware
care
of
of
them
it better.
quicker.
Yeah, and I was able to take care of it quicker. It wasn't like, instead of it being like whenever, I'm like sober, it's like, wow, I'm feeling anxious. Whenever I was on the shrooms, it wouldn't be, oh, I'm feeling anxious. It would go, my body is feeling anxious. Why is my body feeling anxious? It wasn't I'm feeling anxious. So it was like I could separate and remember that separation.
Yes.
And when you can remember the separation, you can handle it different. Because instead of being like, why do I feel anxious? It's like, the body feels anxious. What do we know that fixes this in the body? Okay, let's start doing these things. So this is what fixes, this is what it do. It's like you just act. You don't like sit in that like, oh, I feel this.
Yeah, when I journaled yesterday, actually, because I journaled while I was coming up, I didn't journal in the like me. It was like just factual and like you and like the literally like someone else writing this to me. It was crazy. But yeah, the processing of emotions and the responding
very
instead of
different,
reacting, more patient.
Yeah, it felt like that part. It felt like that moment in between being reactive or responsive, instead of it being like a wibble wobble and jumping one side or the other. It was like there was a pause. That meant that moment in between was like slowed down, so you can realize, oh, I'm in the in between. What way do I want to take this?
Everything felt slowed down.
Yes, it was like, do I respond to this or do I react to this? Whereas like normally it's just like a, oh shit, we should have responded and not reacted. Whereas like you catch that in between moment.
Right. I had a couple of instances during the day that like threw me off, where like they were making me late, or not even, well, yeah, kind of late, and then also just like I had to wait a little bit longer than planned on someone, and so like normally I would have gotten a little agitated or frustrated by that and be like, oh, I gotta wait. This puts off, me getting back home, this, that, the other, whatever. But I was waiting for my friend, and she happened to be out on a run, and I showed up at her house, and so she's got this really nice front porch with this porch swing, and I was like, girl, take your time on your run. I'll see you. I'm chilling on your porch swing. And I was like, heck yeah, I get, 10 minutes to sit down and swing on this swing, relax, look at my phone, watch some TikToks, whatever, and I had a moment to just sit and chill.
Yeah,
and I appreciated that instead of getting frustrated over that 10-minute wait. And I was like, what?
I feel like when you're on shrooms, because you're so present and you're feeling so grounded and at one with everything, that it's like when you have a moment where it's like there's nothing for you to do. You're not stuck in the ego of being like, if we're not productive, we're not doing right, we're not living right, we're not doing this right. You're in that moment of being like, hey, I got all the time in the world. It will all align the way it's meant to. I know that I will be home when I'm going to be
literally.
home.
Yep.
It's like you're able to be more just like whatever, like kind of like
just relax.
Yeah, just be like, look, like I know that it will play out however it's going to play out in my best good long term. So that's all I'm going to go with. It's like that blind. It really did teach me blind faith a lot in regards to just like what I do believe, but just like because it was a lot of, when you're, especially you'll see as you get further into it, because the longer you're doing this, you're not used to like having that little increase on a regular basis.
Right.
So when you're having it gets you more in your head. 'Cause it does increase creativity. I was watching this.
And you're rewiring neuropathways.
Yeah, it's like the neuroplasticity is just going haywire. And so it's like
so awesome.
It's so cool. I was talking to someone about that the other day, because they were saying like, oh, they can't retain things as much as they used to anymore. And I was like, yeah, it's just because you're not doing it. You're not practicing it. I was like, but it doesn't go away. Neuroplasticity is a thing. Your brain doesn't just stop and you're not able to learn that anymore. You can. You just got to keep, practicing and like try to like learn new things or whatever.
Right.
And like for this video I was watching on the way here, they did like a whole like 30-day like trial. With the guy like was doing every day, and he was like testing like creatively how it kind of was, and they compared like the creativity of people. So basically, how they do it was they would come before first, and they would do these little things where it like they gave them like a pool noodle, and they're like, what different things can you do with this pool noodle? And so they test all different things, and then they would make them have shrooms, come back and they give them something different and do them a different test, and then see how much more like creative they were with their answers. And it was like drastic. Like the minimal percent of like going up was 20% more creativity, and the higher amount was 50% more creative. That. And the people that were like didn't take the shrooms in between, they tested like pretty much the same.
Right.
And so they're like, there's a genuine like proof that like, and they proved it a bunch of different scientific experiences, but that's like on YouTube where someone recreated their own version of it, like a little small version of it to kind of be like, oh, let me test this. Right. But there's been actual like studies they've done where they've done the same thing, and it's really fascinating to be like, no, there's like a direct, like they see drastically, there is like your creativity is increased whenever you're microdosing.
That's really exciting because I would love to get back into art.
That's when I got back into painting. It was 2020. That was when I got into painting.
Okay.
I was not into painting at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like it was about 2 years ago.
God, it's been a while. Holy shit. I was like, I did that because I just got off my medication. My anxiety was crazy. I was just figuring out, this was before I figured out I had DID. There was a lot going on in my brain. I did not really know how to handle what's going on. I was very into blind. So that's why, for me, shrooms was very beneficial because shrooms were a part of the reason I really did figure out what was going on in me, because it allowed me to be the observer in my own life when I had never really done that. I tried a little bit in the last year before that, but I never even heard of viewing your life just as the observer until 2019. So then in 2020, when that happened, I started trying to be the observer, and the shrooms really did help that. And so that's when I was like, whoa. I think I see what's going on here. And that's when I went to my therapist and I started doing therapy. So I felt like I need therapy. As we started applying, we started figuring out different things. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe I didn't realize how detached I was from my ego.
Right.
That I just really had no concept. And I don't know, I feel like this dude's TikTok I watched, he was talking about like ego death, and like the problem with a lot of people is when they refer to like the ego death, they refer to it in like ego transcendence. They're like, oh, fuck my ego, hater. And then they want to be this all-powerful being. They're like, but you do know that transcending means to bring with and forward. So your ego has to be molded and brought with you. Your ego doesn't go away. Like your ego has to transcend with you.
And that's when people get stuck in that spiritual
ego. It's that loop, because they don't realize that like your ego has to be a part of your transcendence, or you can't transcend. Like that's your ego is what helps you transcend.
The ego.
Yeah, it's like you have to
want to get rid of the ego. You have to form a healthy balance.
Yeah, it's like you have to like rebuild you healthily, like who your ego is. Your ego has to be healthy in order for your soul to move in a healthy direction. You can't just have it not be. It's like we are soul and body, so there is like a physicality thing that has to go along with it, and your ego is attached to your physical being, in that sense. So it's like your physical being in your like daily life matters. You can't just say it's just in your mind, like you're in the physical realm. So your ego, your identity in that realm matters. But it's really fascinating because people are just like, fuck my ego.
Right. This segues us into, because I forgot we also wanted to talk about like stuck energy in the body. So we get to the physical body.
It's a wild ride. When you're stuck in your mind's realm for me, it was 23 years, tapping into the physical body, I was just like, what the fuck's going on? My body was just like,
it's like,
I just want to curl up in a ball and just cry. I don't want to do anything. And I was just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you a scared little kid in a corner? Like, I was just so tapped out of my body for so long.
Right, because people don't understand. It's like when they have emotions that they don't want to feel, and things happen, their ego gets offended, their ego gets hurt, and they just shove it down, and they want to get it as far away from their mind as possible. Well, where's the furthest from the mind as possible? Like down in your body at your feet.
Yeah,
so, it's like it's literally your mind's in your body, in your brain, so it's physically in there.
It's like trapped in this little magnet. Literally. You can't go out of it until you put it out.
Exactly. So you have these small emotions, and then you have these big traumatic experiences. Everything has to be processed and let go and expelled from the body. And if you don't deal with it and you just shove it down, it's literally still inside of you. And so
it will come out one day.
Right, when you have these little experiences, inconveniences happen, and you have these explosions. You see these people go irate over these littlest things and shooting people at gas stations. Well, hell, I mean, that was the scared 12-year-old who was beaten by his dad and, whatever, molested, all of these things that happen. If they're not dealt with, they're not processed, and they're not healed, they're going to come out in other ways, and they're going to come out essentially in the form of
being triggered.
Yeah.
You get triggered because you haven't healed it. Being triggered is something's triggering an emotion you haven't dealt with fully. And it's very hard because there are a lot of emotions that we don't really know how the fuck we're supposed to process. It takes a lot of time. There are some things that people will try to heal for a long time before it fully isn't bothering them anymore.
Right. But, and sometimes they're not even getting the right emotion.
Yeah. That's a big thing too. And figuring out exactly what the emotion is and then processing it, even the small shit. I was notorious for shoving down the small things immediately. Because I was just like, it's not worth it. Even the simplest fact of in 2019, 2020, when I started going to raves and I started doing the blush across my cheeks, obviously now when I do it, it's really vibrant. When I first started doing blush like that, I had a full freak out, and I was like, why am I feeling this way? Or I was just like, I don't know, I don't want to walk out like this. I'm like, but you saw this all over, you thought it looked really cute when everyone else did it. Why don't you want to do it? And I was just instantly, I was like, what's going on? I closed my mind. I'm thinking, I'm what happened? Freshman year, I had really bright blush on my cheeks for nerd day, and this dude looked me in the face and he said, the blush on your cheeks make your acne scars look really bad. Scarred me from freshman year up until I was 24. That was 10 years that I didn't wear blush. I was scared to put pink on my cheeks because I was it draws attention to the bad things.
Yep.
And it was just a little 14-year-old kid that got hurt, and I never processed it. So for all those years, I refused to wear blush because no, that makes things look bad on my face.
Right.
What?
And you get an actual feeling in your body whenever that was triggered over that 10-year period.
Yes, and it's I would be
you go to want to wear blush or something like that.
I always had the palest, lightest pinks, just so it didn't look ghostly with the contour and highlighter. I would have the lightest, and it would be just right here because they said it would make your face look slimmer. So I would be very particular with it. And now I'm just now that I've healed that part of me, I will put on red across my cheeks.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just
I love it.
Woo!
I think it looks cool as shit, dude.
It's it feels I'm animated. It feels I'm not a real person because no one really does that. So it's I feel I'm in a cartoon.
It's cool.
It's
I love the look. I love it though.
Simple stuff like that, the smallest things, the biggest things, they do hold in you until you fix it, and you'll feel it every time it gets triggered. You're what? I don't know. This I kind of feel weird. That's the problem. Everyone's just I don't know. I feel kind of weird. I feel off.
Right.
Explain it. What feels weird? Where? How does it feel?
And they're I don't know. They're so disconnected from the body.
I have no idea when it started. I have no idea how to describe what it feels like. I'll try to help you. I'm is it throbbing? Is it tingling? I will try everything. So I'm just if you can identify it, you can fix it. If you can't identify the problem, you will never fix the problem.
And then people are oh, how do I fix it? How do I get rid of it? And I'm no.
Identify it. Yeah. Identify it. Know what it is.
And sit with it.
It's give that part of you, that thing, give it recognition saying, I see you.
Literally.
It's all it is. It just wants to be seen because it feels if you were to take your emotion in that experience and pretend it's a human, into reference, that it's just someone got hurt and they feel the person who's supposed to take care of them, you, is refusing to acknowledge their hurt. And that feels painful.
It's what your parents did to you.
Yes. And it's you're doing exactly what your parents did, what these people, these adults did, all these different people did to you that hurt you, but you're doing it to yourself because you refuse to go, this is what happened. This is how I'm feeling. And I'm going to sit with it, and it's okay. However long we got to feel this is how I'm sitting with you through this feeling.
Exactly.
And we will figure it out.
And then you learn what that emotion is, what that feeling is. And so the next time you experience it, you're I'm strong. I've got this.
You're I've done this before.
And so Wendy also said this to me the other day, yesterday. She was when you see the person you love and you get those butterflies and you get that feeling of oh, I love that person. You don't say, oh, I want to push this feeling away.
You're just
Get
like,
rid of it immediately. No,
wow,
you
look
want to
at that.
bask in it. You want to feel that feeling as
want
long
to look
as
at it,
right.
feel it.
But us as
experience it.
humans, we want to categorize things as good or bad.
Yeah. So I'm not there.
So we
like,
think
nope, good
these
and bad.
feelings are bad, and so we want to shove them away and get rid of them as quick as possible. But the key and the trick is to just sit with them for a few moments, as long as they need, as long as they deserve. That grief, whatever it is, you may not be depressed. You've got big things going on in your life that are also triggering unhealed wounds from your childhood, your teenage years, whatever it is. But you've got to be willing to sit with these things for whatever amount of time so that you can let them go eventually and build that emotional strength.
I feel like
because they just need to be acknowledged, like you said.
I feel like one of the reasons why specifically people, I mean, everywhere around the world you can tell, but I can only speak for people around here that I've referenced with, why they tend to be so hyper focused on the lows. And it's simply because if you let yourself fully experience every happy moment and then it goes away, but you won't let yourself feel the sad moment or angry moment, that bad moment, it's going to keep coming back to you until you feel it. So you get reminded all the time, all the bad things, because you're refusing to sit with them. But because you sat with the good things, they come and go. Yep. If you sit with your good and bad, you live a very contented happiness of being like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it'll always fluctuate. It'll always keep going.
That's such a good little key, little tidbit. And like, I feel like I've really learned that lately. Yeah, and I'm just like, dude, I appreciate the bad things that happen. Because I'm like, I'm about to learn something, about to glow up. I'm about to unlock something, whatever. This is.
That's what I call like years. It's level 26 right now.
The yin and the yang. Yeah, level 26.
I refuse to say years because fuck time and it's going to make me age faster. My belief in it, I believe our belief in aging makes us age faster.
Level 26, that's a pretty high level.
I've had this theory for a while before I became spiritual. So this has just always been my theory that people age according to their beliefs, right? So before I used to say, because I'd be like, I don't know, people who really think that they're like aging and they always fuss about like if they're looking old, they're looking like they're aging, they age so much fucking faster. Mm-hmm. Which is why I think white people age like shit. Because we're all like, they're always talking about how bad white people age, how they age so poorly, how they need all these products, White people always trying to find some shit. Just moisturize your skin and let's keep going. But I think that is the belief because I had this theory because of my mom, actually. Because when I was younger, my mom had a period of time where she referred to herself as that she was done aging, right? So there was a period of time where she was 36 to me for I don't even know how many years. She was just 36. I had no concept of how old she really was because she always would just say 36. So I always believed it because she was like, my mom looks young as hell for her age. I'm telling you, it's your belief. So now everyone doesn't think I'm my age. I'm just like, it's because I'm telling you, I don't believe I'm 26. I know I'm on level 26, but I am not 26.
Right.
There's a difference.
That's fair.
Like, I'm young. So I like saying level. It also just sounds 26. Fun. It's like, damn,
I feel like I still have a youngness to me.
Yeah, like level 26, that's far as fuck.
I still get ID'd.
When I get ID'd, I'm just like, I know I do not look under 21.
Shut the fuck up.
When they do it, it kills me. I'm just like, no, I'm like, how old do you think they thought I was? It just always makes me curious. Like, I just feel like like both of us look over 21. So I'm just like,
I agree.
How old do you think we look? But then again, America's Next Top Model, they didn't look their ages.
Oh,
19-year-old girl, she looked about 25. I would have not carded her. See, I would have gotten in trouble. That's why they card for people like her. Get it? Me having a conversation with myself.
Me just emojis.
That's how life goes for me.
My god. I mean, it's fine. I enjoy listening.
I just really clicked that.
Oh man. Let's talk about how repressing things eventually can also make you sick physically.
Yeah.
Love that.
As someone with chronic pain, I'm convinced at this point that a lot of it, like all of it, has started from something that was held on because I have drastically seen the difference. And as I've healed different things, like, yeah, I still have chronic pain, but it's drastically different And it's not like I'm trying to get to like stretching and yoga every day. I did that earlier. But I'm trying. But for the most part, I don't. So if I haven't changed my physical activity, I haven't stretched more, I haven't done yoga, and the only thing that has changed is my mental health. And I have drastically seen a difference in my pain threshold, what hurts, when it hurts, all these different things. I'm just like, interesting.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And then when you look up different parts of the body and like spiritually, like, people believe like what is held there. I'm just like, makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, just like sexual trauma being stored in the hips. Like
I have
yesterday,
so much hip problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I was doing my Reiki yesterday on myself, like I just felt like the urge to start doing these like just like hip circles and like
I was doing that earlier.
thrusting pelvic floor raises, whatever. And like I did it for a little, like 10-15 seconds, and then just the tears just started, and like I just I started sobbing about my sexual assault. And I realized that I had talked to several people. I had even confronted the person. I had journaled about it, processed it, but I never actually sat there and like really cried and like just like felt that panicky, that all the nastiness. And so like I did that yesterday, and like I can't even explain to you how much lighter I feel, and like how much
that's good,
just better my body feels, how much more open my hips feel.
I'm always trying to fix my shit. I got a herniated disc, and I'm confident because I let my shit go so untapped for so long. Because I'm just saying, my herniated disc happened before I was 23. So it was before I had I started working on myself, before I acknowledged my emotions. This is back when I was so numb that I literally forgot I had a body, because all I knew was that my body hurts. That was it. I had no concept of anything outside of my body hurts. And so like that was a whole bracket of its own. But like it's like whenever and I think it was 2020 when I kind of had that moment where it had to be like the end of 2020 or early 2021, and I was doing a lot more meditation and shadow work and stuff, and I was really trying to like fix some shit that was going on in my mind. And I just remember like I was just sitting there and I just started like crying, and I was telling Sam about these friends, and he's like, you've talked to me about this before, he's like, what brought this back up? And I said, I just realized that I never let myself feel what I was feeling in those moments, because in the moment I shut down to go through the experience. And so I would tell people what happened, but I never experienced it. Even when I would leave, I would not leave and cry on my way home. I would turn on music, keep myself distracted. So I never allowed myself to feel all the hurt of driving an hour after these events, and never experienced that emotion. So like it just started flowing down. I was like, wow, this is going to take a while to get all this out. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's like, I can see that. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be a minute. I just didn't even realize that was like a thing that like I had inside me. I was like feeling. I love like whenever you feel something inside of you and you're like, something's wrong there. I need to like get it out. And you do something and you start crying, or you do whatever, like tapping yourself, and you feel it and it's just gone. Yeah. And you're just like, wow.
Breath work is a really powerful tool if you want to release and access stored trauma, energetic, stuck energy in the body.
The breath.
And there's several, the power of the breath, man. I mean, there's several different ones you can look up. There's this guy on Instagram that I love. It's Believe in Your Breath. He's based out of Australia. I just saw that he does virtual sessions.
Oh, that's cool.
So I messaged him today. I was like, I've been following you for a while. I've been really feeling called to do a session with you. And I see that you do virtual.
You're like,
super excited.
Hit that up.
What's up with it? So can't wait to hear back from him. And do that, because I've done some of his exercises that he's posted on Instagram. I've done plenty of Wim Hof breathing exercises, and then just some like Kundalini ones. And I mean,
we still need to do a breathing exercise one day on here.
Oh, definitely.
One day we need to like set it out where like it starts off like that, and we have to like structure it out however the fuck we want. Yeah, that'll be fun.
So I'll tell you guys the Wim Hof one real quick, because that one's pretty easy. So it's like top lung breathing. So you want to inhale through your nose 100% as much as you can, as deeply as you can. and then you're going to exhale about 75%. But don't pause at the inhale or the exhale. Just keep them flowing. So in, out, inhale 100%, exhale 75% for 30 breaths. And then at the end of the 30th breath, you're going to exhale completely, and you're going to hold for like 15, 30 seconds for the first time. And then you're going to inhale completely, hold 15, 30, 45 seconds, as long as you can go, really. And then you can repeat this cycle a few times, and you'll find each time you can hold your breath for a little bit longer on the exhale and the inhale. At this point, I've gotten up to almost 2 minutes.
Wow, I've gotten a little over a minute at my max.
Nice.
So, but I haven't like actively been working on it like I said I was going to. I've done.
I haven't either.
Like I've done when I first heard about like the Wim Hof method, it was from a YouTube meditation video. So if anyone like needs that, I'm sure you can just like look it up. And there's
YouTube
tons.
Wim Hof breathing
because
exercises.
you'll literally sit there and you'll have someone telling it to you as you're doing it, and like you can hear it, and they'll really like help you. It's really interesting what all just like the breath can do to your body. It's such a scientific, basic, simple thing, but you don't think about it.
Literally, well, the guy on YouTube, I wish I knew his name. But he breaks it down in a lot of his posts. And one day I read he was talking about his breathing technique allows you to access the amygdala in your brain, which stores like traumas and repressed memories and stuff like that. So doing that one will literally like, and he does that combined with essentially like scream therapy.
I want to do scream therapy.
And that's where I first like discovered it and was like, wow, I feel really called to like doing this myself to heal, but then also helping others do it. So that's definitely something I want to incorporate to our little retreat program when we get that started.
For sure, because let me explain. I don't know I know that everyone will not be able to relate to this, but there are some people, autistic or not, but a lot of autistic people will get this. Screaming is very hard for me. And like Sam cannot grasp his head around that because he was raised very different. We were not raised with
so
yelling.
Easy for me. I don't know.
To us, like what yelling was raising your voice. Like we did not yell. We didn't yell for real. So I didn't know how to really scream. And like so sometimes I'll feel it and I'm like, I just need to get it out.
Yeah, you feeling
I'm like, I need to scream. And I'm telling you, it is hard. It's hard. I have to like amp myself up. Sam watched as I literally had to put a pillow to my face because it was too loud. That's what it is. Screaming is too loud. So even my own scream will hurt my ears. So I have to hold my ears when I scream. And I have to be like, okay, let's just do it. Hold it in 1, 2, 3, go for it. And I have to like amp myself up to do it. That's fair. I will fight with it. Like Sam told me, he's like, I cannot believe this is. He's like, I just have never seen someone like actually fight to like get a scream out. I'm like, no, like it's hard. Like I have to like really like, like just slowly get there.
I love that.
But like it is very helpful. So if you're someone who screaming is not something that's been easy for you because of the volume, just cover your ears with the pillow and scream into the pillow. Music can help too. If you have music in your ears and like cover it when you scream, because it's what all it was. I thought I just had a problem with screaming, but obviously it's kind of weird to scream when you don't normally scream because it's like you use a different part of your like diaphragm. It's totally different. And a lot of times, like, I don't know how to scream properly, so I end up just, like, hurting the back of my throat because I'm not screaming with, like, my stomach. And so it's just a weird concept. Right. But the biggest thing is, like, sound. It's, like, as long as you can, like, that was what was overstimulating me.
You get a deeper from your stomach.
That's when you're like, I like to do that when I drive.
Yeah, I like to turn on angry screamo music from my teens and blast that. And
I'll just, like, turn on some, like, healing music, and then I'll be like, I'll go through like
scream to that.
I'll scream to everything. So what happens is,
oh god,
I'll scream at like my normal level, and then I'll try to scream as high pitched as I can, and then I'll try to scream as low as I can, so I can feel the vibration, like the frequency go up and down like my body, because it's very fun. Once you like do like the 3 different like screams. Once you do the 3 different screams and you just start like cycling through them, you're like, oh, this is so fun.
You're like, wow.
Feels like a roller's going through my body. Just like, let's get that energy out.
No, it really does. It moves the energy though.
Yeah,
it's the sound and the vibration. So it's just
Sometimes I'll do like a low
Ooh.
one because I feel something down here. I'll do it, and I'll make like a gagging like thing just to get out. Something needs to go.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Since I do the Reiki, I'll literally pluck that shit the fuck out of me.
I mean, yeah, I've done that sometimes.
I
Like,
might know. Bye.
distinctively.
Get out. My chest was hurting yesterday. It was heavy. It was a lot in my heart, solar plexus, and sacral chakra.
That's fair.
Which is funny because when I got my own Reiki session done, the very first one that I had done to me before I got, attuned to Reiki and started doing it, like those were the 3 that were blocked. She was like, "Your root is like totally fine," which is shocking if the other ones are
problematic.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I've actually done a lot of work on my root chakra.
Yeah.
Like I was
I
able
struggle with that
to
most in the beginning.
not heal, but work through my anxiety issues basically just like without any drugs, any psilocybin, microdosing, anything like that. I had just lots of meditation, healing, things like that. But so I didn't need to do that because mine really weren't severe. So I feel like that's why I didn't need any next level assistance. Because I never really dealt with really bad anxiety, but it did get bad for a couple of years when I started getting connected into my body, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this feeling? Yeah, I don't like this. Somebody help!"
I'm like, whoa, this is a lot.
Yeah, so I started doing that work before, but and then like throat has always been very open and very vocal.
Oh, I was the one I had to work on.
But sometimes it was
a lot in the beginning.
overactive, so I've been having to work on that. But third eye has always been open, and then the crown. So she did it. She was like, "Girl, you just need to like here, just a torso, like work on that. What you doing?"
That's fair.
So I've been working a lot on healing my heart because obviously there's just a lot of like sadness and hurt that I've. So yesterday that purge though, I really do feel
Lighter.
Like I got a lot of it out. Like a lot of the times over the past year when I've done journaling and I've done healing and crying sessions and screaming, whatever I'm doing, shadow work wise, I have had a specific memory, a specific instance that I'm working through, basically core memories. So I think I went through and I've healed most of the core memories, and like yesterday it was all of just the little things, and so it was just like through all of them, and so I just purged it all, and I don't know. I think this is
how it ends up, like how
the next step to the next level, the transformation.
I meant to say this earlier, but I totally forgot. So I was talking about like how everyone, a lot of people don't like, they let their feelings add up to the point where people think they're numb. But it like the reason why every time someone tells me like I just feel numb, I'm just like, I have such empathy for it because I'm like, I understand where you're at because I was there before, but
been there.
You're not numb. You think you're numb because you're feeling so much that you feel numb, because you have to remember it's duality. So like pain and pleasure is the same exact thing.
Right.
It's just a little bitty line that changes it. And it's the same thing with that. So it's like if you're feeling so much that your body's like, we don't have anywhere higher to go. Let's just go to the opposite. You feel nothing. And so it's like when you think you're numb, it's because you have so much to feel that your body's just been like, it's easier to shut down and not feel anything.
Right.
And that's so sad. I'm just like, oh man, that's a lot of journey, because I get that. That's where I was at when I was 23. That was why I went to hospital, because I was just like, yo, I don't feel anything. I didn't feel happy or sad. I'm just like, this isn't right. I'm like, I should feel things. I was like, what's going on? And then when I started uncovering shit, I was just like, I feel everything. What the fuck?
Yeah, guys, if you're feeling numb and you ever need somebody to talk to, our DMs are always open.
This too.
It's a rough little journey, this thing of life and existence that we're on.
See, just in general, let alone outside, like all the like outside influences of shit that goes on in the world, like just within your own mind, in your own like existence. You have so much that you're going through to just be alive and be who you are. And so when you add all these other things, your other connections, things going around the world, your work, all these different things, it's so much. And a lot of people, I feel like we've normalized these lives to the point where people are like, oh, just like suck it up. This is how we are. It's like,
Right.
no, this is how we've chosen to be right now, but this isn't the only way we can be. Like, maybe we should fix it because it's not as efficient as we thought it would be.
People wow them when they just don't want to try and change
Yes.
anything. I'm like, you need to stop.
I'm like,
I know it's scary,
it's like, I
but
get it.
you got this.
I was there. But babe, you sound...
You being ignorant.
Yeah. You sound like you're totally fine with being sad and not being happy. That's what it is. It's like you don't have a drive to fight for your happiness because you've accepted that it just might not happen.
Right.
And it's like,
that's sad.
Yeah, it's like you gotta
That's one of the saddest
for
things in the world.
your happiness, because that's the only way to... Other people can try to make you happy, but you have to be the one actually fighting for your happiness, or you'll never get there.
Right. You can't rely on someone else for your happiness.
No.
That's
It's like at the end of
oldest
the
trick
day,
in the
it's
book.
in you. Yeah, it's like they can help you be happy on the outside, but you are the only person that can go into the inside, so you have to be the one to fight for your happiness on the inside, because no one else can do that for you. Everyone else can only help you with outside shit. So it's like you really gotta be your best friend, your fighter, your therapist, your mother,
mate.
father.
Yep.
Your brother.
I love it. That's good. I think we had some good.
Yeah, I think we said important things, probably.
I think so.
Helpful things.
I think so. This is our, emotions and repressing them, stuck energy in the body.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah. I mean, we're not scientists. And if you're underage, don't do anything. We did not recommend any minors do any drugs.
We're not
And
recommending you take it.
We didn't even recommend older people do drugs. Take your own decision. You're your own person. You know your body.
We're not promoting the use of it. We are simply sharing our experiences.
So, do your own research.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us on episode 12.
I think it's 12.
It's 12 of the Ethereal Podcast.
Woo!
You guys are awesome. Much love and light, and we will see y'all on the next episode.
Episode 13.
Woohoo!